From a humane shelter, a shelter,
That's
right. So thanks for joining us.
We'll see you at 6.
Bye.
11 minutes that'll change the way you watch the late news, only on News 13.
The president casts a veto. He calls lifting the arms embargo against Bosnia the wrong step at the wrong time. More fallout from the siege of Ruby Ridge. 4 top FBI agents are suspended. And at Dodger Stadium, when the fans toss beanballs, the umpire calls the game.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Sitting in tonight, Forrest Sawyer.
Good evening. President Clinton took 2 big foreign policy steps today. He vetoed a congressional move to lift the arms embargo on Bosnia, saying it would make the war, quote, an American responsibility. And in a decision he called a historic milestone, the president permanently banned all U.S. nuclear weapons tests. The moves are certain to affect U.S. military and foreign policy immediately and for years to come. We have 2 reports. First, at the White House, Britt Hume.
The president had signed that Bosnia veto message in private with hope but no certainty he can sustain it in Congress. He went public with his much less controversial decision to seek an end to all nuclear testing.
This is an historic milestone in our efforts to reduce the nuclear threat to build a safer world.
The president said this action would enhance the chance of a worldwide treaty next year to ban nuclear testing. He said the U.S. nuclear arsenal can be kept in shape without testing.
I am today directing the establishment of a new annual reporting and certification requirement that will ensure that our nuclear weapons remain safe and reliable under a comprehensive test ban.
Over at the Pentagon, which had wanted to continue small-scale testing but was overruled, officials were hardly jubilant but said they were satisfied with the safeguards the president had announced.
I'll give you a short summary. Full support, full participation, and full confidence.
In Congress, the decision was hailed by members who believe it is the only hope for a test ban treaty, which they contend favors the U.S. anyway.
We're so far ahead of everyone else. But we cannot, in my view, place ourselves in a hypocritical position where we're going to say, trust us, we're going to do this testing, but it's a no-no for you.
There are some dissenters, but the president seems in relatively good shape with Congress on the issue of nuclear testing. There's not much Congress could do about his policy at this point anyway. It's a different story, though, in the contentious question of the Bosnia arms embargo, where Mr. Clinton clearly has some work to do to sustain that veto he cast today. Britt Hume, ABC News, the White House.
The veto message arrived from the White House with respect to S-21, the Bosnian Self-Defense Act.
This is John Cochran on Capitol Hill, where just a few weeks ago, the Senate voted overwhelmingly to lift the arms embargo on the Bosnians. At the time, Republicans had enough support to override a presidential veto. But today, the Democratic leader said the situation has changed.
I think we do have the votes.
Surprisingly, Bob Dole conceded his Democratic counterpart may be right.
I would say if it happened today, he might be right, because things have sort of changed in the last week.
What has changed is that since UN peacekeeping forces were beefed up last month, the war between Bosnia's Serbs and Muslims has quieted down. Bosnian Serbs have halted their attacks on so-called safe areas. Their political and military leaders are badly divided on strategy. Meanwhile, their fellow Serbs in Croatia have suffered a crushing defeat. The victorious Croatians were well equipped with the kind of heavy weapons that Muslims in Bosnia can only hope for. Bosnians must rely on light weapons. Their supporters say if the Bosnians were as well armed as the Croatians, they might at least have a chance.
So it seems to me that we've seen Croatia accomplish in 4 days what the UN cannot accomplish in 4 years. And we now understand even better than ever the handicap that's been placed on the independent nation of Bosnia.
With events in Bosnia unpredictable, no one can forecast what the Senate will do next month when it votes on the president's veto. But if the president loses and Bob Dole wins, then Dole wants Congress to set aside $100 million in military aid for Bosnia. John Cochran, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
And in the former Yugoslavia today, the refugee story is a two-way street. In one direction, 80,000 Serbian refugees expelled from their homes in Croatia this week have now arrived in Serbia. Heading in the other direction, Croatians expelled from their homes in Serbia to make room for the new Serbian refugees. When we come back, the FBI suspends more agents over the siege at Ruby Ridge. the Ross Perot Convention. Here come the candidates and our person of the week, aiming for the Olympics.
Tylenol Extended Relief.
They named it Tylenol Extended Relief because it's extended relief.
I can't give it a better name than Tylenol Extended Relief because that's what it does.
Remember, it's Tylenol Extended Relief.
Perfect name, great product.
Hyperkeratosis, symptom, persistent, itchy, flaky scalp. Solution, Neutrogena T-Gel. It works. Neutrogena T-Gel Shampoo.
Alan's asthma attack woke me. At 3 a.m., you don't try some unknown brand. You trust Primatene Mist.
It starts to open clogged breathing passages in as fast as 15 seconds.
We take asthma seriously with Primatene Mist.
Fastest type asthma relief without a prescription.
It's no secret that men are different from women. So for our one-a-day men's formula, we've increased levels of antioxidants, as well as B vitamins. People are different. So is one-a-day. We've got the one for you.
In Washington, signs of what may have been a high-level cover-up at the FBI. 4 top officials of the Federal Bureau of Investigation were suspended today, the latest fallout from a disastrous siege by FBI agents in Ruby Ridge, Idaho, 3 years ago. And it is no longer an internal Bureau matter. A criminal investigation has begun. Here's ABC's Tim O'Brien.
3 years ago, in their efforts to apprehend white separatist Randy Weaver, FBI marksmen accidentally shot and killed Weaver's wife, who was unarmed, a tragic mistake. Since then, the FBI, the Justice Department, and some members of Congress have been trying to figure out what went wrong and who ordered a change in the rules of engagement permitting FBI snipers to open fire. Today's suspensions are based on a confidential interim Justice Department report, which, according to senior law enforcement sources, suggests top FBI officials may have lied to Justice Department investigators, destroyed documents, or otherwise obstructed justice.
We're a long way from charging anybody, let alone convicting them, but these are all federal felonies which carry prison terms from 5 to 15 years, depending upon which particular crime is charged.
Among those suspended today, Larry Potts, who was second in charge at the FBI until last month when he was demoted over the Ruby Ridge controversy. Potts and the other agents will continue to receive their government salaries pending the completion of the internal Justice Department inquiry. A Senate subcommittee will also be looking into the incident next month, with at least one senator casting doubt on whether the Justice Department can adequately investigate the FBI.
I think there is a strong indication here that the initial investigation and even the oversight investigation by FBI either failed to recognize the problems or ignored them.
Referring all this to the U.S. Attorney's Office significantly ups the ante for the FBI and the agents involved. It's no longer just a question of judgment, but whether top officials of the FBI deliberately violated federal criminal laws. Tim O'Brien, ABC News, Washington.
Now to politics. Ross Perot is back, center stage. This weekend in Dallas, Perot is holding a convention for his followers. The major presidential candidates are not far behind. Here's ABC's Dean Reynolds.
They represent the most coveted block of voters in the nation, Ross Perot's potentially pivotal electorate. They came from every part of the country today with all sorts of ideas about what ails America.
We must have campaign finance reform.
Lobbying and term limits in particular.
Is the Congress stupid? A Washington Post ABC News poll says Perot voters comprise about 17% of the country, down only 2 points from 1992, and still enough to swing an election. Yet 2 out of 3 Americans say they'd never vote for Perot himself, and his organization, United We Stand America, is divided on how to proceed. Today, even some of the faithful are resisting another Perot candidacy.
I'm not sure that Mr. Perot is the person. He may or may not be.
Perot has not said if he will run again. He has not endorsed anyone else, and he says he has no desire to lead a third party. But his rhetoric is pure campaign.
Starting today, I hope that every American and every member of Congress will pledge to work together as one team to solve our problems. And if we will, nothing can stop it. Nothing can stop it.
The belief that these politically active people, if united, could swing the 1996 election has drawn one top White House official plus 9 Republican presidential hopefuls to this conference. They'll all be making speeches tomorrow. But critics say that's just pandering to Perot.
Is it really dignified to go chasing after this pest in Dallas and asking for his blessing? I mean, there are better things for these guys to do with their time.
On Ross Perot's big day today, the Dallas Convention Center was barely half full, even with free admission for many who showed up. But the fact that the presidential candidates are coming is important. And as long as Perot's plans for 1996 are secret, the courtship of the man and his movement will go on. Dean Reynolds, ABC News, Dallas.
The Clintons' legal defense fund is still deeply in the red. The latest figures show the Clintons have run up legal bills of more than $2 million related to the Whitewater matters and a sexual harassment suit against President Clinton. But the fund has only raised $865,000 and donations have been falling off. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrials lost another 25 points today, closing at 46.18. Trading was slow. On the NASDAQ market, stocks gained 3.5 points. When we come back, Senator Packwood responds to his latest accuser.
Announcing a waterproofing breakthrough.
Thompson's Water Seal Ultra Waterproofer.
Ultra powerful.
The best multi-surface waterproofer you can buy.
Ultra protective.
Thompson's Ultra beats the competition hands down.
Thompson's Ultra, the ultimate waterproofer.
Good morning, guys.
Just when you think your diarrhea medicine is working.
Oh, boy. What's wrong?
It can let you down. But you can count on Imodium AD to stop diarrhea, often in just one dose, instead of dose after dose, more than 1/3 of a bottle of the pink stuff. And Imodium AD is even better than the leading prescription.
I told you we should have stopped for Imodium AD.
Imodium AD, one dose relief you can count on.
We made history on the American road. Now we're looking to the future. Introducing the new Ford Explorer. The top-selling compact sport utility that has standard dual airbags, as well as the roomiest interior, plus the one with the highest quality of any American compact sport utility. The new Ford Explorer. Far and away, the best the world has to offer.
Mighty Dog presents Sam. Now that she's over 7, there's new Mighty Dog Senior, specially formulated with 25% less fat and extra nutrients to meet her needs. It makes your dog a Mighty Dog.
It's Ace Dollar Days, where a little loose change can get you lots of great stuff, including things like this for just $1 each. You'll find them all at Ace Dollar Days now.
It's a great time to be silver because you're over 50 and you haven't lost your edge. Now there's a Centrum made just for you. Centrum Silver, for your changing nutritional needs. Centrum Silver, it's a great time to be silver.
Tonight, did you ever think you could lose your job because you're a woman and a mother? These women say it happened to them. Could it happen to you? Plus, think you look great with a tan? Think again. It'll kill you. You could be asking for skin cancer. Before your love affair with the sun becomes a fatal attraction, watch this 2020 tonight.
Senator Bob Packwood has responded publicly today to the latest allegation that he made unwanted sexual advances toward women, most of whom worked for him. More than a dozen women have made such charges, and this newest one is potentially the most damaging because it involves someone who was only a teenager at the time of the alleged incident. Here's ABC's Jackie Judd.
Packwood is taking the offense when it comes to the most serious charge lodged against him. The Oregon senator has apologized to his other accusers, but not to the woman who says she was a minor when he allegedly made sexual advances.
But I am saying on this one, it did not happen the way she describes it.
Packwood went a step further. He identified his accuser in a widely distributed press release after an Oregon newspaper named the woman as well. Still, Nancy Fiedelman's lawyer says it was wrong of Packwood to disclose what was confidential information. Fiedelman told the Senate Ethics Committee that as a 17-year-old intern in 1983, Packwood insisted on delivering a letter of recommendation to her house, where he, quote, laid a juicy kiss on my lips. I could feel the tongue coming.
I'm saying that when I present the evidence to the Ethics Committee that we have, it will put this event in an entirely different light than it's now described.
Senator Packwood seemed almost home free last week after the Senate voted not to hold public hearings into the charges against him. But the accusation that he molested a minor has turned up the heat. Republican presidential candidate Pat Buchanan says if all the charges are true, he should resign. Republican Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison, who voted against public hearings, now says charges made by a teenager must be taken even more seriously than all the previous charges. Packwood said today he is not going to resign. In fact, he seems to have decided that fighting back is the only way he's going to survive. Jackie Judd, ABC News, Washington.
At the O.J. Simpson trial today, things got so heated that at one point Judge Ito had to tell one of the prosecutors, the jury is only 6 feet away. They can hear you. The center of all this attention is a well-known pathologist from New York who has made a very strong defense witness. In Los Angeles, ABC's Cynthia McFadden.
Dr. Michael Baden calls himself a detective of death. A forensic pathologist, one of only a few hundred in the country, he has already been paid $100,000 by O.J. Simpson. It was money well spent, as Baden more than held his own today under cross-examination.
Mr. Kelberg, you are misinformed.
Baden was effective in part because his testimony that Ronald Goldman may have struggled with his assailant for 15 minutes, combined with the defense timeline, would make it too late for O.J. Simpson to have committed the murders.
The struggle started at 10:40. What is the earliest time? The earliest time that he would have been cut in the chest, in your opinion?
In my opinion, 10:45.
Could have been as late as 10:50.
Yes.
Or later.
Yes.
Baden also suggested the coroner misled the jury by testifying that one strong assailant with a single-edged knife killed the two victims.
Can you tell within a reasonable degree of medical certainty how many killers were involved in this case?
No.
Or their weight.
No.
Or their height.
No.
Or that there was only one knife used.
Dr. Baden has given this jury a more prolonged violent scenario of how these murders occurred. And even if the jury doesn't know how to choose between his scenario and the coroner's, ties usually favor the defense.
Baden's day and a half on the witness stand is in sharp contrast to the 8.5 days of the coroner. The defense strategy? Present a few strong points quickly and hope that those are the ones the jury will remember. Cynthia McFadden, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Another kind of legal news in Charleston, South Carolina. Shannon Faulkner may be just a day away from becoming a cadet at the all-male military school, the Citadel. U.S. Supreme Court Chief Justice William Rehnquist rejected today an emergency request from the Citadel to keep her out. Faulkner, who has been attending day classes since 1994, will now be allowed to become a full cadet and take military training. In Oklahoma, prison officials are investigating how a convicted murderer managed to overdose on sedatives just hours before his scheduled execution. 40-year-old Robert Bakeem, convicted of killing a woman whose husband refused to lend him money, was found unconscious in his cell last night. But that was not enough to stop the execution. Bakeem was taken to the hospital and his stomach was pumped. And a couple of hours later, he was executed. We'll be back in a moment.
Looks like his cereal left him flat. Of course, theirs didn't. So what's your excuse? Hey, pick up the broken pieces of your life and move on. Look, there's hope. Here, try this, see? Kellogg's low-fat granola's got big clumps of rolled oats, brown sugar, sweet raisins, and almonds, not flat little flakes. So you get a taste that's anything but flat. So, hey, wake up, get with it, like they did. Try something that won't leave you flat. Kellogg's low-fat granola, now with even more raisins. And hurry, we can't take much more of this.
I was really downing those tablets. I started to think there was something really wrong with my stomach. Was I relieved when my doctor said I just needed a stronger antacid tablet?
New Mylanta tablets are strong medicine, made stronger than Tums, stronger than any other antacid tablet, and now made with calcium.
Unbelievable.
Mylanta tablets, made stronger, made with calcium.
My doctor said Mylanta.
You have a 30-year mortgage. So shouldn't you have a 30-year faucet? Moen. Buy it for looks. Buy it for life.
I'm 62. Can I still help prevent osteoporosis?
It's never too late for Caltrate. New Caltrate Plus has the extra calcium you need, plus 6 nutrients essential for healthy bones.
whatever your age.
It's never too late for Caltrate.
Some nights, my husband Ben is out there for hours, in spite of his minor arthritis pain. When he has a flare-up, he takes Advil. Nothing's been proven to last longer. He says Advil lets him get back to doing what he loves. And without the pain, he sleeps better. Says he wakes up feeling ready for another day. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
And relief is even closer at hand with the Advil Easy Open Cap.
Here's the latest on the condition of Mickey Mantle. His doctors say he is now so weak that they have suspended his chemotherapy. This week, the cancer that he's been troubled with has spread from his liver and his lung to his abdomen. And the only medication they are giving him now is painkillers. Mantle spent much of the day with his family at the hospital. In Los Angeles at Dodger Stadium, an umpire is calling last night's incident another black eye for baseball. For the first time since 1979, a major league team has had to forfeit a game because of the behavior of its fans. Here's ABC's Bill Rediger.
It seemed like a good idea at the time. Ball night at the ballpark. A sellout crowd of 53,000 given free baseballs before the game began. But at the bottom of the seventh inning, when Dodger right fielder Raul Mondesi was ejected after arguing a call, the promotion turned into ammunition. A shower of those free baseballs.
Looks like rice at a wedding.
Even veteran announcers were stunned by the outpouring of ill will from the usually sedate Dodger fans.
That is the worst display we've seen here at Dodger Stadium.
The fans had a ball. The vulnerable players did not.
It's scary, really, truthfully. You don't want to see that happen, but it happens.
After it happened again in the ninth inning, the Dodgers were forced to forfeit the game. Last night, they had a chance to move into first place.
Really sad that something like that had to occur. That's all, to see a game being forfeited just at the time when we're battling for a pennant.
The last time a major league team forfeited a game was 16 years ago, when Chicago White Sox fans staged an anti-disco rally, blowing up records between games of a doubleheader and going on a rampage. The last time the Dodgers forfeited a game was 80 years ago when they were accused of stealing signs. Tonight, the Dodgers meet the Pittsburgh Pirates. The manager of the Pirates, who've been on a losing streak, has an idea.
We're struggling winning games, so Rich and I have taken the liberty of declaring tonight paperweight night at Dodger Stadium.
Actually, the next promotion will be Backpack Night. Bill Rediker, ABC News, Los Angeles.
In New York, a tribute to the end of World War II. Vintage World War II airplanes dipped low over the aircraft carrier Intrepid today. The Intrepid, now a museum to World War II, is docked right along the Hudson River. The 50th anniversary of VJ Day for victory over Japan, the end of World War II, is Monday. We'll be back in a moment.
World News Tonight with Peter Jennings and the Person of the Week are brought to you by Aflac, insuring over 38 million people worldwide.
We're very fortunate to have such a wonderful family.
After his operation, his body was like twice the normal size. He was on this respirator for 3 weeks. It was kind of lonely around here.
I got Aflac through our company. The owner of the company felt that we should have it. It turned out fabulous.
Aflac covers the unexpected costs of getting better so you can get on with life.
Everything worked out wonderful.
Your doctor said, what? Listen, if you're a woman and you get heartburn, should you take these, which have aluminum and magnesium, or should you take Tums Ultra with calcium? Something your body needs anyway. If you're not sure, ask your doctor. See what she says.
When it comes to lawn and garden products, we're making a name for ourselves because we guarantee they're built tough from the ground up. That's Ace, the name to know for lawn and garden.
When I wear my Super Poly Grip, I can eat apples. With my Super Poly Grip, I have no problems. It works. It holds. No one knows I wear dentures unless I tell them. I love Super Poly Grip.
Fibercon or Metamucil? Both give you the same predictable regularity, the same natural action of fiber. So what makes Fibercon different? With Fibercon, I get my fiber in 2 caplets. Fibercon, fiber regularity that's easier to take.
Finally tonight, our Person of the Week. who has demonstrated that there's no sense listening to someone else tell you what you cannot accomplish. What's more important is what you believe possible. Limitations are simply hurdles to get over, and our person of the week knows how to do that very well.
I think your attitude, your effort, mainly your effort and how much your heart is into something is more significant than something physical that might be holding you back slightly.
Marla Runyon is a world-class athlete who has more than a slight disability. She is legally blind. But that didn't stop her from winning a bronze medal in the heptathlon at the U.S. Olympic Festival held in Colorado. The heptathlon is a grueling combination of 7 track and field events, including the high jump, an especially difficult event for someone with limited sight.
I have to really rely on my steps a lot and trust that the bar will come into sight about my 3rd or 4th step.
Marla inhabits a world where she can see movement and color, but she cannot recognize faces beyond 3 or 4 feet away. It's also difficult to see hurdles. For Marla, track is a game of numbers, not vision. She counts 8 strides to the first hurdle, 3 in between, and so on.
It's just a lot of repetition and trust in my coach and trust in myself and a lot of guts.
Marla has a drive, and maybe it's because of loss of her sight. I've never coached an athlete with her kind of drive.
That focus has already made Marla Runyon a champion. In the 1992 Barcelona Paralympic Games for disabled athletes, she won 4 gold medals and set several record times. In recognition of that achievement, her likeness appears on a commemorative coin for the 1996 Paralympics. Now she has her sights set on making the regular U.S. Olympic team that will compete in Atlanta next summer.
I'd be wearing a USA uniform at the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta, and I'd be getting in the blocks for the 100 hurdles. Those would be the biggest dreams.
Marla began losing her sight as a child, a victim of a degenerative disease of the retina. Her doctor and teachers said not only were her hopes of becoming a star athlete unlikely, she might not even finish high school.
I constantly had to prove myself and say, no, that's not good enough. I can get straight A's. I can be an athlete.
Now 26 years old, Marla has graduated from college and lives on her own with her dog, Summer. She sorts her own mail with a magnifying glass and is able to read her own letters with an enlarger. And with the help of special glasses, she has even learned to drive herself to practice during daylight. But it is not just her own accomplishments that are important to her. She also teaches at a school for deaf and blind children, teaching them to follow their dreams, just as she has followed hers.
I hope to be mainly a model for parents with children who might have a vision loss or minor disability, and I hope that they don't hold their children back. I hope that they encourage them to do and experience as much in life as they can.
And so we choose Marla Runyon. I don't like being stereotyped as disabled, she says. We should all be judged as individuals by our accomplishments and how well we perform. Marla Runyon has succeeded against what she calls some pretty awesome competition on the track and off. That's our report on World News Tonight. 2020 later. I'm Forrest Sawyer. For all of us here at ABC News, good night.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.